what if the reason your company feels, so agonizingly slow isn't because you lack the right project management software?
Right.
Like, what if it's actually because you're structurally built like a machine when you really need to be built like an animal?
That is a great way to put it.
Think about it for a second. You watch consumer trends just flip almost overnight. You see technology evolving faster than most people can even comprehend.
Oh, absolutely.
And you feel your own expectations as a customer shifting mid-quarter. But then you look at established legacy businesses and they're acting like the market is going to politely hit pause.
Yeah, like time just stops for them.
Exactly. Like the market will just wait for them to finish their, 6-week internal review process and then resume once they're finally ready.
I mean, it is a profound mismatch in operating systems. We treat companies like mechanical engines with gears and cogs.
Mm-hmm.
If a gear breaks, you submit a purchase order, swap it out, and restart the machine. But culture doesn't operate like a machine. It's an ecosystem.
Right. It's alive.
Exactly. And the companies actually keeping pace today are fundamentally built differently. They operate as living, breathing organisms.
Wow.
Every system is connected. So when one part senses a change, the entire organism responds systemically.
Okay, let's unpack this because that shift in perspective is the entire mission of our deep dive today.
Yeah, it's a big shift.
We are exploring this really fascinating framework from Stellapop. It's titled The Anatomy of a Business That Moves at the Speed of Culture.
It's such a great read.
It really is. And the central question for us and, for you listening is how do we stop chasing culture and start moving naturally with it?
Right.
Because right now, to me, it feels like most legacy businesses are running Windows 95 while the culture around them is operating on, ultra-fast fiber optic Wi-Fi.
That's a painfully accurate analogy.
So to fix that, the framework suggests we have to literally rebuild the anatomy of the business.
Yeah. And to move with culture, any organism first needs to be able to sense its environment.
Makes sense.
And then actually make choices based on those sensations.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the top of the anatomical structure, the command center.
Okay, which is what exactly?
That consists of the brain and the nervous system. In a traditional corporate structure, the brain is entirely focused on decision perfection.
Ah.
They want the perfect data set before making any move at all.
Which usually means the brain is totally overloaded. I mean, you have layers upon layers of approvals, endless meetings.
Yeah, the endless meetings.
And those infamous decks about decks. You know what I mean? By the time a decision is finally pushed through that massive pipeline, the cultural moment you're trying to capitalize on is completely gone.
Right, which is why the Stellapop framework points out a massive shift happening in agile companies.
What are they doing differently?
They are moving from decision perfection to decision velocity. They build what are called fast lanes for decision making.
Fast lanes, okay.
Yeah, they recognize that indecision isn't just a neutral state. It's actively harming the business in a fast-moving market.
But let me push back on that for a second.
Sure. Because I picture this like a really slow-moving committee trying to steer a speedboat away from a rocky shore.
Right.
If we tell a massive organization to prioritize speed over perfection, how do you prevent that from turning into internal silos?
What do you mean?
Like where rogue managers are just making competing, reckless decisions. If we give a frontline manager the authority to pull the trigger on a $20,000 initiative without a VP signing off, couldn't that create absolute chaos?
Well, it absolutely would if you don't have the mechanisms in place to support it.
Okay.
That is the critical difference between speed and recklessness. Speed requires clear ownership and pre-approved parameters.
Gotcha.
A true fast lane means establishing up front what is the specific budget threshold? What strategic goal does this align with?
Right, setting the boundaries.
Exactly. And what is the immediate mitigation plan if the decision fails? If a project fits inside those parameters, the individual empowered to make the call does it immediately.
No pitch decks. No pitch decks. No committee votes. Just action. Recklessness is moving without those parameters.
Yeah.
True speed is trusting the parameters you've already built.
Okay, so it's about removing the friction of bureaucracy, not removing the actual thinking process.
Spot on.
That perfectly sets up the second half of the command center, which is the nervous system. If the brain makes the decisions, the nervous system has to tell it what is actually happening outside the building.
And this is an area where legacy businesses are often completely disconnected from reality.
Oh, totally.
Their nervous system relies almost entirely on lagging indicators. They look at at quarterly financial reports or post-mortem project reviews.
Or those end-of-year customer satisfaction surveys.
Yes, which is essentially trying to drive a car by only looking in the rearview mirror.
Right. By the time you see the problem, you've already run over it.
Exactly. A business that moves at the speed of culture has to build a real-time nervous system.
What does that look like in practice?
It means empowering the nerve endings, which are your frontline employees, to pass signals directly to the brain.
Without middle management getting in the way.
Right, without the information being filtered and sanitized. It means utilizing real-time social listening.
Like tracking Twitter or Reddit?
Yeah, where unstructured data, like a sudden spike in customer complaints on a Reddit thread about a specific software bug, is immediately flagged to the development team.
Wow.
If a company cannot feel what is happening around it in real time, it's just flying blind.
I want you, the listener, to run a quick structural MRI on your own workplace right now.
Oh, I like that.
Ask yourself this: when was the last time a piece of raw, real-time customer feedback actually changed a product feature or a marketing message in less than 30 days?
30 days is generous.
Right. If your answer is never, your company's nervous system might be paralyzed.
That is an excellent acid test.
Yeah.
Because taking in all those real-time signals and making lightning-fast decisions will still tear a company apart if there isn't a central rhythm keeping the organism grounded.
Which naturally leads us to the core identity of the organism, the heart and the lungs.
Yeah.
Because speed without consistency is just frantic flailing. In this anatomical framework, the brand itself is the heart.
Right. It pumps consistency through the entire body.
So your messaging, your design, your hiring practices, how your customer service reps talk on the phone, that is the lifeblood keeping the identity alive.
And when you look at companies that completely fall apart under pressure, you almost always find a weak heart.
Interesting. How so?
Well, every time they try to pivot quickly to catch a new cultural trend, it feels like a massive identity crisis.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that.
They don't really know who they are, so they try to be whoever they think the market wants them to be in that specific hour.
And this is where the lungs come in. And I gotta say, it's probably my favorite metaphor in the source material.
It's a really strong visual.
The lungs are about breathing in culture. So consuming outside content, listening to external conversations, monitoring competitors,
Right.
and then breathing out relevance, like timely campaigns or products that actually match the moment.
Yes, breathing in and breathing out.
It is the complete antithesis of the stuffy, windowless, corporate boardroom echo chamber. It's like physically stepping outside to take a breath of fresh air.
That's exactly it.
But practically speaking, how does a company breathe in culture and breathe out relevance without falling into the trap of cringy, desperate trend chasing?
That's the danger, right?
Yeah. I mean, we've all seen the legacy financial institutions suddenly trying to use Gen Z slang in a TikTok video.
Oh, it's painful.
It's incredibly awkward.
The reason that feels awkward is because that financial institution bypassed the heart. The interplay between the lungs and the heart is everything here.
Okay, break that down for me.
Breathing in culture is not about chasing trends. It's about understanding context. Let's say a business breathes in a massive cultural shift, like the sudden normalization of generative AI.
Sure.
The heart has to act as the filter. The heart ensures that whatever the business breathes out in response aligns perfectly with its core identity.
So, if a highly technical, nerdy B2B software company breathes in a new social media platform, their strong heart tells them, we don't do viral dance challenges.
Right, please don't.
We do highly specific inside joke memes about coding errors.
Exactly. That way, they are participating in the cultural moment, but doing it in a way that is undeniably them.
That makes total sense.
When the heart is strong, you never chase a trend that doesn't fit your brand. You know your core identity so intimately that you can move incredibly fast without causing internal confusion.
Or alienating your core audience.
Right.
Let's pause for another structural MRI for the listener. Think about the last major pivot or cultural campaign your team launched.
Good question to ask.
Did it feel like a natural extension of who you are, or did it feel like you were just trying on a trend's clothes for the day? Because if it's the latter, your organization might need a cardiologist.
It's a vital check. Because even if an organization has a strong heart, is breathing the right cultural air, sensing its environment perfectly, and making fast decisions,
There's still a catch.
yeah, there is still a massive gap between knowing what to do and physically executing it.
Right. The organism has to actually move without tripping over its own feet.
Yes.
So what does this all mean? That brings us to the mechanics of action. the skeleton and the muscles.
This is where the rubber meets the road.
The Stellapop framework describes the skeleton as the need to build a structure that supports rather than restricts. And reading this, the image I couldn't shake was trying to build a multi-million-dollar high-speed bullet train,
Okay.
but forcing it to run on tracks made of 18th century cobblestone.
Oh, wow. That paints a very clear picture of the friction involved.
Right. The engine, your strategy, your talent wants to go 200 miles an hour. But the rigid, outdated infrastructure of the cobblestones literally shakes the train to pieces.
Yeah, it just can't handle it.
Every single cross-departmental handoff, every legal review for a low-risk social post, every siloed budget creates violent friction.
To smooth out those tracks, the framework advocates for a flexible skeleton.
Flexible how?
Well, we often think of corporate structure as rigid job descriptions and permanent hierarchies. But companies moving at the speed of culture use role-based accountability.
What does that mean practically?
The structure shifts based on the immediate project. You aren't just your job title. You are the role you need to play for this specific agile loop.
But wait, if we strip away the strict hierarchies and standard operating procedures, aren't we just inviting a total free-for-all?
It can sound like that, yeah.
Like, how do the muscles actually know what to do if there isn't a manager explicitly telling them step by step?
Because the goal isn't to eliminate structure entirely. The goal is to build a structure that enables speed rather than control.
Enables speed.
Right. Think of the muscles as execution without friction. In a fast company, the muscles are built for motion through tight feedback loops and incredibly short cycles.
Okay.
They don't wait for perfect conditions to launch a finished product. They have a bias toward action.
Like a minimum viable product.
Yes, exactly. They launch an MVP, they learn from the immediate feedback, they adjust the muscles, and they repeat.
It's a rhythm. Like wearing lightweight running gear instead of a full suit of medieval plate armor to run a marathon.
Yes, it's a constant, steady rhythm. The muscles know what to do because the flexible skeleton provides clear accountability for the outcome rather than micromanaging the process.
Right.
The team knows the goal, they have the parameters, and they are trusted to execute the physical movements required to get there.
Time for another quick MRI, listener. Think about the simplest task your team executes. Maybe publishing a blog post or fixing a minor customer-facing bug.
It's always the small stuff.
How many approvals from how many different departments does it take to get that single task live? If the number of approvals is higher than the number of people actually doing the work, your skeleton is actively fighting your muscles.
And if you fix that, if you get the skeleton and muscles working in perfect harmony, you will naturally start moving incredibly fast. But there is a hidden danger here. If an organism reacts to every single stimulus in its environment simply because it has the physical capability to do so, it's going to exhaust itself.
Oh, that makes sense.
Or worse, it will sprint right off a cliff because it got distracted by a butterfly.
Here's where it gets really interesting. This introduces our final anatomical section, the systems that provide protection and foresight. The immune system, the eyes and ears, and the gut.
Crucial parts of the body.
We tend to celebrate companies that are always on, constantly reacting to every cultural blip. But the framework argues that moving fast is incredibly dangerous if you lack discipline.
Exactly.
The immune system in a business is what filters the true signal from the useless noise.
It is the operational discipline to say no. Think about the psychological pressure on a CEO when they see their three biggest competitors jump onto a new, flashy technological trend.
The FOMO is real.
Oh, absolutely. The immediate instinct is to panic and order the team to do the same thing so they don't fall behind.
But the immune system says, no, that trend doesn't serve our core customer, it doesn't align with our heart, and it distracts our muscles from our actual goals. Ignore it.
Right.
That takes immense restraint. It is discipline preventing chaos.
And paired directly with that discipline, you have the eyes and ears. This is about anticipation over reaction.
Okay, anticipation.
Most legacy companies are purely reactive. A crisis happens or a market shifts, and they scramble to convene a task force.
Right.
The businesses moving at the speed of culture are constantly interpreting patterns. They see the subtle shifts in consumer behavior while the trends are still forming.
Before everyone else jumps in.
Exactly. Because by the time a trend is obvious to the legacy companies, the space is already too crowded to make a meaningful impact.
So what does this all mean for the actual leaders making the calls? The Stellapop material talks heavily about the gut,
Yes.
Instinct backed by experience, not waiting for perfect data to act. And there is a standout quote here. Waiting for another report is just fear dressed up as process.
Such a powerful quote.
I think a lot of us have lived that quote in our daily professional lives.
It's a profound observation about corporate psychology.
But let me challenge the practical reality of it for a second.
Sure, go ahead.
Can a massive multinational corporation really justify relying on a gut feeling when there are millions of dollars and thousands of people's livelihoods on the line?
It's a fair question.
Recommending that a CEO bet the quarter on their gut sounds like a massive liability.
It sounds like a liability because we often misunderstand what the gut actually is in a business context.
Okay.
It is not a leader waking up from a dream and betting the company on a whim. The gut is high-level, internalized pattern recognition.
Oh, interesting.
It is built by leaders who have deep synthesized experience and teams that are intimately close to the customer.
Okay, I see.
Think of a seasoned chess grandmaster. When they look at a board, they do not consciously calculate every single possible move and variation.
Right, that would take hours.
Exactly. Their gut immediately tells them the right strategic path because their brain has internalized the patterns of thousands of previous games.
So the gut is essentially a supercomputer processing invisible data.
Precisely. And this is where the immune system plays such a crucial role again. By having the discipline to filter out the useless distractions, the gut and the eyes and ears can focus entirely on the subtle shifts that actually matter.
They aren't ignoring data.
No, not at all. They just refuse to wait for perfect, undeniable data. They understand the opportunity cost of waiting.
Right.
If they wait until a 50-page report proves that a cultural shift is happening, their fastest competitors have already acted on it, monetized it, and moved on to the next thing.
Fear dressed up as process. That is your final structural MRI for today, listener.
It's a tough one to face.
The next time a project is delayed because someone requested an additional round of market research or another feasibility study, ask yourself, do we genuinely lack the information to move forward, or are we just afraid to make the decision?
It requires a profound level of honesty to answer that question, because recognizing those structural flaws is the mandatory first step toward evolution.
Yeah.
You cannot rewire a broken nervous system if you refuse to admit that the signals from the front line aren't reaching the brain.
The ultimate uncomfortable question posed by this entire framework is, this is your organization built for speed, or are you just hoping you will be?
And hope is not a strategy.
Hope is not an operating system. If your brain is overloaded and demands perfection, your decisions will always lag.
Right.
If your tracks are made of cobblestone, your muscles will never execute smoothly. The companies winning today aren't necessarily the ones with the deepest pockets or the most recognizable legacy names.
No, they aren't.
They are simply built differently. They're dynamic, living ecosystems.
They're built to continuously adapt to the environment they operate in, rather than trying to force the environment to adapt to them.
And that leaves us with a final, lingering thought to mull over as you head back into your own corporate ecosystems. We've talked extensively about how a business must operate like a living organism to survive moving at the speed of culture. But biologically speaking, what happens when a living system encounters an entirely new environment it was never meant to inhabit?
Oh, wow.
Think about a massive structural paradigm shift, like the total integration of artificial intelligence into every single facet of daily life.
Yeah, that changes everything.
Can an established legacy organism, no matter how much it tries to loosen its skeleton and speed up its brain, actually evolve its anatomy fast enough?
That's the million-dollar question.
Or is it biologically doomed to be outcompeted by younger, natively agile species that were born directly into that new environment? Are we just trying to bolt high-speed engines onto cobblestone tracks, or is it time to build a completely new machine from scratch? Something for you to think about as you navigate the speed of culture this week.